When it comes to shipping overseas, it's important to know the full scope of what to expect during the process. I'm talking damages, missing items, and how to resolve any issues that might arise once your shipment arrives to you. I've got all the tips and tricks. Let's dive in. Hey there, I'm Heather Harris, founder of Copper Bottom Design Co., where we help creative entrepreneurs just like you develop planner products and get them manufactured overseas. Shipping. It is my least favorite part of this business because ship happens. Yep. I said it. I know it's a bad stepmom joke, but I couldn't resist. Generally, your shipping company, whoever you've contracted to handle your shipments, is a really good resource while the shipment is in transit. It's important to build a good relationship with them and stay in touch closely and frequently throughout the process so that you're aware of any timeline issues that may arise. They'll be more able to help as best they can during that phase and answer any questions you have along the way. If you'd like more of a shipping 101 overview, watch my video from last week that details the 3 most important things you need to know about overseas shipping. Today, I'm diving into what to do when your shipment finally arrives to you and is in your hands. This is a very exciting time in your product development journey, and it can be a little hard to restrain yourself from tearing apart all those boxes and admiring your hard work coming to life. But there are 2 things that I recommend you do as soon as your shipment arrives, and that's inspection and inventory. I know it's totally boring, but it's super important and you need to incorporate this in your process. Be ready to take notes and photographs through each of the phases I'm going to talk about next. Number 1 is inspection. As soon as that truck pulls up, you're going to want to walk around each pallet and make sure the outside of the boxes are okay. It's much like when you get a piece of furniture delivered or if you've ever moved and you hired movers. You want to make sure everything that comes off that truck is in pristine condition. Take photos and notes of any damage you see. Last summer, I got a table for my deck delivered, but the glass top was shattered. So I immediately took photos and said to the delivery guy, send it back. I don't want it. It's damaged. And then I had to go and move on and figure out how to get a refund and a new one shipped. So it's much like the same thing. It's coming off the truck, walk around and photograph any damage. Hopefully there is none. If everything looks good, you'll have a bunch of pallets with boxes on them, depending on how many planners in your order. You want to remove a few boxes from each pallet, taking them from different places on the pallet, take a box from the bottom row, the top row, and a middle row, and maybe from different sides of the pallet. So gather 3 to 5 boxes from each pallet and make a note of which pallet they came from. Open the boxes that you've collected one by one and take out a planner from each of them. Before removing the shrink wrap or the clear plastic bag that's around them for protection, you want to look at them and make sure there's no visible damage. If there is, make a note. Then you want to unbox all of the planners. If they were packaged in a keepsake box, you want to open the boxes, check those out, or just remove the clear wrapper that's around them. You want to be able to get inside and look at the pages of each planner. So you need to unwrap them completely. Once you've done this, I want you to inspect the planners. And this is going to take some time. You need to flip through page by page, making sure that everything is right. If at any point during this stage you find something that's damaged, missing, incorrect, you name it, just take photos and notes. And I'll talk more about how to deal with damages in a bit. So set aside the planners or products that you just inspected. And I know it's a bummer. You want to be able to sell all these things, not unpack them, but it's important because you need to know if everything's good before it ships out to a customer. And you can always use these things for marketing, for samples, PR, your own photographs for Instagram to do sample planner pages. Trust me, you can find endless uses for them. Okay. Now move into inventory. All of your boxes should come from the factory with the quantity written on them. There'll be some sort of description of what is in the box and how many. So for the boxes that you just took planners out of, you're going to want to cross out the number and, reduce it by 1 or however many you took out of the box to make sure the box is labeled with the accurate number of planners that are in that box. Tally up the quantity of all the planners that you remove from the boxes plus the totals from the box and make sure that's the correct quantity you were invoiced for. And I'm not saying somebody's going to be malicious. We're all humans, right? And human error can occur. You just want to make sure there was no like bookkeeping mishap and that you are paying for the correct amount of planners you received. Okay, so now the big topic that everybody asked me about, we're going to talk about damages and how to handle any of these damage issues. So like I said, if you see damages as the boxes are coming off the truck, then we know that that damage happened in transit. You know, a factory is not going to send off a planner box that has a gouge in it from a forklift. They're going to correct that and send you something pristine. So any of those visible damages on the outside of the boxes or the pallets, we can safely assume that happened during ground transit or even transit by ocean and not at the factory. So in this case, speak to the driver and find out what your steps are in filing a claim to seek reimbursement on anything damaged and unsellable from the shipping company. Anything else you find in your inspection, if a planner was missing a page, pages were upside down, there was an imperfection or an error in the printing, all of those things we know came from the factory, and you can go to the factory and seek reimbursement for anything that's not sellable. Examples of these kind of imperfections would be imperfect foil stamping, dented coils on the planner. Like I said, missing pages or pages upside down. Those are kind of common, so don't be alarmed if you find them. Like I said, things happen. It's important to note that a production run of anything, any kind of product that's being manufactured, we can expect imperfections or errors in about 1 to 3% of the entire order. This is just the nature of the process. So what should you do if you do find damages and imperfections or errors of any sort in the planners that you get delivered to you? Grab your favorite pen and some paper. You're going to want to take notes on this. If a damaged planner is found in a box, you should check every other planner in that box for a similar mark, damage, imperfection. The level of damage kind of depends on your level of inspection. So if the damage is like a missing page on the inside of the planner, unfortunately, it's recommended to unwrap all of those planners to see if they are also missing pages, because the way the production process works is things come off a line and some of those errors could be, and most likely are, in a few other planners. If the damage was like a dented or a crushed keepsake box, you're going to want to open all those boxes to make sure the planner is okay inside. And if it is, you can just set aside the damaged keepsake boxes and then put the good planners in another pile, because those are still technically sellable. You can sell them for a discount without the keepsake box or use them for giveaways. They're still usable and a perfect product. Even though the keepsake box is damaged, you would seek reimbursement for the keepsake box portion only. If you experience the issue of like the missing page in the planner, then that planner could be damaged and unsellable, but its keepsake box could be okay. So sometimes you can swap things out to have a perfect sets for everything you sell. It really just kind of, like the luck of the draw. So as you go along, like I said, just make sure if there's something damaged in one of the boxes, check everything else in there and make note of it, where it came from, and take all the notes and photos you can. It's going to help you out in the long run. If this happens, then the next step would be to contact the factory. Send them an explanation via email, send them photos, send them everything you can. Sometimes they'll ask you to take more photos or even mail them samples back so they can see what's happening. It's in the factory's best interest to fix any problems. They want to keep you happy. You just made an investment with them. If it's a good factory, they want to preserve a good working relationship and have you order from them next time. So a lot of times they will quickly replace items that are damaged or give you a credit on a next order. It really depends on the certain circumstances. If the factory wants you to inspect all the planners in the order, or if you find something that is widespread, keep a note of how much time it takes you or your staff to look through these planners, because that could potentially be incorporated into the monetary reimbursement that you seek. While there are countless different scenarios that I could detail here, many of them follow the same process. The most important two things to remember when accounting for damages to a product or a shipment are: 1, inspect and inventory your shipment as soon as possible when it arrives to your doorstep. 2, document everything with photos and notes. And now you may have something going to a warehouse instead of your home, but it should be part of your warehouse's process to inspect and inventory the goods. So talk to them about their process, make sure you're comfortable with it. And if anything happens, make sure they document with photos and notes so you can go back to the factory with any issues. And remember, product and shipping damages are not personal or intentional, but it's important to be diligent about the quality of your product, the product that you paid a lot of money for, you worked so hard to create, and really is a representation of your business as a whole. These are products that you're selling to your customers. You need to stand up for yourself on their behalf and stand up for your business. It's all about maintaining the highest standard of quality that you can. So there you have it. I hope I didn't scare you. A lot of times we have shipments come in and there's no problems, or a problem that's easy to fix or really is so minor that it doesn't actually matter so much. So don't get stressed out. It's okay. Do you think you're ready to take the plunge and manufacture your products overseas? I've spent nearly 2 decades cultivating great partnerships with manufacturers around the globe. And I've learned a lot of ins and outs about the manufacturing and import process. I'm here to help you elevate your brand and create quality products that can be a huge income stream for your business. And I'll help you navigate these waters through international shipping, I promise. I've made a checklist to help you prep your business for overseas production. Download it at the link in the description of this video and hit that subscribe button and the bell, because next week I'm diving into my favorite topic, expanding your product line. I'm prepared to give you all the details on what to launch and when. See you then.